So tell me a little bit about how you prepared and how, what resources and how, mostly how you, just sort of how you went about preparing for, because it's a pretty, I think for most people it's a pretty unusual undertaking to take all seven. It's super awesome that that you passed all seven of them, because I think now you lend a lot of credibility to this approach. And so people are going to want to know, all right, well, you did it. So how did you do it? How did you go about studying?
Right. So it was really as part of this campaign, and just for love of the number seven,
Yeah.
I really started studying 7 weeks out from my first exam. And this is all kind of documented at AIAS.org/7in7, 7in7.
Okay, we'll add that to the show notes too,
Yeah.
so people can check it out.
So I did weekly videos and blogs kind of talking about the steps in the process. The first thing was obviously for me just familiarizing myself with the exams themselves, the process, the content that would be covered. So that kind of went straight to NCARB. Had to do that to schedule the exams anyway, but then read the A.R.E. guidelines, and then they have specific exam guides per division that break out kind of the percentage of the test that's on each of the content areas. And then from there, really just started with the kind of well-known resources, and kind of worked my way through those pretty quickly. I knew, given the time constraint I was under and the fact that I was studying for all seven, it was not likely that I was going to have much success trying to read cover to cover and retain any of it.
Right.
So I pretty quickly started looking for other resources that were maybe a little more well suited to my style of study, and again the constraints I was under. I tend to be kind of a slow reader, so I was looking for more things like videos and audio and practice exams. I like to kind of learn the way I'm going to be tested.
Yeah.
So used that as a starting point, looked into several of them. Thankfully, because this was kind of a public campaign of the AIAS, many of the test prep providers were generous enough to provide those materials for evaluation and use. And then the other one I used quite a bit. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's the AIA A.R.E. Prep video series powered by Black Spectacles.
I might have heard it.
I used those quite a bit. Again, thankfully, since I'm in the same building as the AIA, when they heard about what I was doing, we started a conversation, and they asked me if I would kind of start evaluating those ahead of time. Obviously, they already kind of existed within Black Specs, so I was aware of them before.
Right.
I watched every single one at least once. Something I enjoyed quite a bit about those was the fact that they're broken down so well by topic area. So again, in looking at the kind of the proportions of content area that are covered in the exams, you can really kind of target what you know you need to study the most, the areas you think you're weak in. And Mike Newman was my pro practice professor in grad school, so it was a little bit strange. I was having a little bit of a flashback to grad school moment, but also just he has a real knack for delivering that content in a way that's not dry and boring, and it doesn't feel like you're just being lectured to. He has good examples and speaks in a very kind of comprehensible way.
So yeah, let me ask you. A lot of folks they'll just sort of they'll give themselves 2 weeks or a month and they'll focus on one exam, but you actually kind of jammed them all together in 7 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if you found that there was any sort of advantage of studying for all seven basically simultaneously. Is that how you did it, or did you instead sort of focus on one exam in week one, a different exam in week two? What was your approach?
Initially, it was kind of broken. 7 days a week, and I got 7 exams. So to a certain extent, early on, I tried to do kind of a different exam per day.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a great deal of overlap, especially between certain exams. So I realized that wasn't necessarily helping as much as I thought it would, and also because I'm working a full-time job during the day, during the week, I had a lot more time on the weekends to put toward it. So then it just kind of became, okay, this day is practice exams. This day I'm going to read these 2 study guides, or so it kind of got broken up a little more ad hoc than that. But it was pretty much just an all-out rush trying to get through everything I could. And there was some multitasking involved. There were a lot of times I had the Black Specs videos up on one screen and was working on the practice vignettes on another screen, doing something that I know I can still pay attention to what's going on here. But
right.
not giving myself the answers to a practice exam while I'm taking it.
Yeah, yeah. Now that's interesting. I wonder, you know, a lot of people get kind of freaked out by, you know, the prospect of taking an exam. And in a way, it's kind of audacious that you would, you know, kind of take all 7, you know, sort of in one shot. So I wonder, what was your like mentality? I mean, obviously, so you were lucky, and we'll just say it out loud, right? Like the AIAS paid, I think, maybe for you to take all 7 of the exams. So it wasn't your cash, maybe that was on the line. Whereas for other folks, okay, maybe it is their own cash that's on the line. So maybe that takes some pressure off of you. But even just sort of the money thing aside, I mean, you were still facing the prospect of failing all 7 exams one time. You've only got 3 times to take them, right?
Right.
So, I mean, what was your mentality with regard to that?
Yeah, it was still very daunting. This whole campaign, to a certain extent, kind of started as a joke between Nick Surface, our executive director, and myself. And gradually, the more people we talked to about it, the more real it got, and the more we were kind of committed to it. And there were definitely a couple points where I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. This is a lot of pressure. But yeah, you're right. It's having the exams paid for, and hopefully if you're in a firm, they do the same. I actually found out that Quinn Evans, where I'm about to start working, pays for the exams, so I could have delayed a little bit and done the same thing. But likewise, having all those resources at my disposal, that still doesn't change the fact that you have to put in the hours. You know, that's, if there's one valid justification for, you know, not doing what I did, I would say it's that. It's the cost of the resources involved. But either way, you really have to want it. You have to be willing to kind of sacrifice parts of your life that you might otherwise enjoy. I had absolutely zero social life for those 7 weeks. My wife is, you know, 1,000 miles away in Michigan, so I had very few distractions. It was easy to, you know, go home on the weekend and just hunker down. But yeah, it's there's no shortcut. There's no easy way. A lot of people have been asking me since these results came out, like, what was your trick? What was the secret to doing it? And I was like, study hard a lot. That's about it. There's no magic to it.
Yeah.